That is an excellent brew. Cafe del Sol here locally brewed that one. And when I was making this, the first try, I burnt myself. I spilt the hot water all over my left hand accidentally. And so my left hand's throbbing right now. I don't know if that's coming through the camera, but I'm doing this in pain. But so I'm talking about breaking with business as usual. And so I see all these patients, and a lot of times people are coming to me, and this is very new for them, this experience of seeing a doctor, and they don't really know if they want to be there. And so for them, like, breaking with business as usual is even coming at all. And this also applies to habits. So for me, years and years, business as usual has meant getting up with the least amount of time that I can before wherever I have to be so that I get the most amount of sleep. And I've decided to change that. And I decided I was going to get up early and do some other things before I start my day, like some meditation and some reading and some connection with Shelley and some exercise and all this kind of stuff. But one of the habits that I've gotten into is watching TV at night. And that's getting in the way because it's so tempting just to be like, okay, one more episode, 20 more minutes, whatever. And before I know it, I've stayed up way too late, and getting up in the morning is difficult. The obvious way to address that problem was to just get rid of the TV. Now, that TV's got a story, because when I was married the first time, she didn't ever want to have a TV in the bedroom. I kind of did, but I didn't push too hard. And then when I got divorced, I went right out instantly and bought the biggest TV I could find and stuck an 80-incher in my bedroom. It's way too big. So here's part of the deal. I mean, when you're going to try and do something differently in your life, you got to break down the barriers. You got to take out the pieces that are in your way. Now, sometimes the things that are in your way are the judgments that you have against the process you're attempting to engage in, or the things you believe about it. So if you're a machismo dude who refuses to get help for his marriage, you got to get in touch with the ways that you've judged the process of marriage counseling and what you've believed that to be. Like, people who go to marriage counselors are blank, wusses, or weak, or, whatever. Those kinds of things. You got to get rid of those. You got to own those and say, oopsie daisy, I'm not going to go down those mental pathways anymore. Or in fact, I'm actually strong for engaging in something difficult, such as marriage counseling. And in my case, I had to kind of get over the idea of wanting to give the middle finger to my ex-wife with my big giant 80-inch big screen TV and say, hey, you know what's even more important than TV time before bed is my personal development in the morning. And so I'm going to make decisions that make it possible for me to meet my goals. I'm going to set up my environment such that it's easier for me to do what I want to do. And maybe it's getting all the sweets out of the house. Maybe it's, maybe it's starting an exercise program. Maybe it's making an effort to keep your spaces more organized and cleaned up. I mean, there's a lot of things that we could do to improve the orderliness of our lives and thereby our emotional health. And the last point I'll make is that, sometimes there's a little bit of a mourning process that comes when we say goodbye to something that's been in our way. Like, I noticed when I took that TV out of there, I was a little bit sad for like a couple days. I was mourning that TV was like a friend. And I made that friend sleep in a different room. And it was a bit more emotional than I thought. And I think it could be like that. If you do decide to say, get rid of all the junk food in the house, or, if you commit to the exercise program, there's going to be internal resistance, and that's normal. Hey, there's a few thoughts on breaking with business as usual, forming new habits. And hey, thanks for listening. I hope you had a good cup of coffee. We'll see you next time.